When Bruce Lee died in 1973, he left behind an unquestioned legacy in his films. But beyond his films, there is another legacy, in his martial art, Jeet Kune Do. This is not a movie on Bruce Lee. It is the first and only training film on Jeet Kune Do by Bruce Lee himself. To compile this film, we have had the complete cooperation of the Bruce Lee estate, enabling us to draw, for the first time, from Bruce Lee's private training films and videos, as well as his audio records and his own training and research notes. The film is narrated by Bruce Lee, with additional input from his son Brandon Lee and from Dan Inosanto, the man Bruce chose to carry on his Jeet Kune Do.
My last name is Lee, Bruce Lee. I was born in San Francisco in 1940. My martial art is in Cantonese Jeet Kune Do, the way of the intercepting fist.
In case you have missed the recent news, Jeet Kune Do, of which I am the founder, has been elected and accepted into the Black Belt Hall of Fame in America. This marks the first time a recently developed form of martial art is nationally accepted. No, Jeet Kune Do is not thousands or even hundreds of years old. It started in around 1965 by a dedicated and intensified man called Bruce Lee, and my martial art is something that no serious martial artist can ignore.
I met Bruce Lee in 1964 through Ed Parker, who was my Kempo karate instructor at that time. And it was the first year of the first international karate championships held in Long Beach. When Bruce arrived in the United States, he had the training in Wu-style Tai Chi, sometimes in Hong Kong they call it Unga. And he had, of course, training in Western boxing. He had training in fencing from his brother. That's Epee, that goes from toe to head. He had training, obviously, in Wing Chun. And the other area was the training he had received in, they call it Buk Pai, or it's Tam Toi. He knew 12 sets in Tam Toi. And then believe he traded with a Choi Lee Fat man. So those were the arts that Bruce brought into the United States. In the beginning, he used the Wing Chun as the base system, or the first system. But as time went on, he went away from that, started to extract different things from different systems and put it to his personal use. That's why we say absorb what is useful and reject what is useless for you. That's the concept. Okay? He says using no way as a way. In other words, it's not a Japanese way, it's not a Chinese way, it's not a Korean way, it's not an Okinawan way, it's not a Filipino way, it's not an Indonesian way. He's saying using no way as the way. You are the way. Okay? Then he's saying using no limitation as a limitation. That's the concept in Jeet Kune Do. That means I don't limit myself to a Filipino style or an Indonesian style or a Malaysian style. I use what is useful for me, because at certain times a certain art may be useful under a certain environment.
Kung-fu is originated in China. It is the ancestor of karate and jiu-jitsu. It's more of a complete system, and it's more fluid. Kung-fu can be practiced alone or with a partner. Practicing alone, they involve form. Some imitate a crane, a monkey, a praying mantis.
Martial art include all the combative arts like karate or judo. Karate, judo, Chinese kung fu or Chinese boxing, whatever you call it. All those. You see, like Aikido, Korean, I can go on and on and on. But it's a combative form of fighting. I mean, it's not, some of them became sport, but some of them
are still not. I mean, they use, for instance, kicking to the groin, jabbing fingers at the eyes, and things like that.
He mixed his trapping into grappling. He had 32 different sequences, as you could see in The Game of Death and the Way of the Dragon. Those two films, he was getting into grappling, the face locks, the head locks.
Originally, Bruce taught us various different trapping methods. For instance, if the punch was to come and we were to trap it, we would come back here and we would lock up. This would be the lock-up positions that we would use.
To me, ultimately, martial art means honestly expressing yourself. Now, it is very difficult to do. I mean, it is easy for me to put on a show and be cocky, and be flooded with a cocky feeling and then feel like pretty cool and all that. Or I can make all kinds of phony things, you see what I mean, blinded by it. Or I can show you some really fancy movement. But to express oneself honestly, not lying to oneself, and to express myself honestly, that, my friend, is very hard to do.
Ever since the big boss, there seems to be a wave, a hot wave in fact, of finding another Bruce Lee among all types of people, particularly martial artists, ranging from karate man, hapkido man, judo man, etc., etc. Forgetting about whether or not they possess the ability to act, just so as they can halfway decent to kick or punch, and hopefully knowing a few tricks or gimmicks, the producers will make them a star. Now let's stop about here. Is it that simple to become a star? Well, I can assure you it's not that simple. Also, I can tell you that as more Bruce Lee's films are shown, the audience will soon realize not only in acting ability, but in physical skill as well, they will see the difference. For example, in The Way of the Dragon, my skill is matched with an American champion, Chuck Norris, who happens to be a 7-time winner of both the All-American Open and World Karate Championship as well. Then there is Bob Wall, the 1970 heavyweight karate champion, plus Wang Yanjik, the 7th degree Hapkido expert, which some audience have seen him in the film called Hapkido. Of course, it is only movie making, people will say, but I'm sure that the audience are not so insensitive as to not be able to see and judge by themselves and compare these men's speed, power, rhythm, coordination, versatilities, etc., etc.
I started training with my dad really as soon as I could walk. I mean, my dad was a really diligent trainer, and he always had people over at the house practicing.
My dad had a circle of students that were close to him, and so they were friends of our family. And one of those men, Danny Inosanto, continued to be my teacher, so it's kind of a nice unbroken line.
I have his books at home with all of his underlining and his notes in them, and it's fascinating to see where he drew his sources from, from what sources he drew. He's got books on Western fencing at home that he would use, on boxing. I remember he always used to say that you want to try and absorb what is useful, discard what is useless, and add what is essentially your own, and that was kind of his credo in creating Jeet Kune Do.
When people ask me the question in interviews generally what my style is, I usually say, well, my father created the art of Jeet Kune Do while he was alive, and I have been trained in that. Mm-hmm. because it's simple to say that. However, I actually truly feel that it's a little bit too simple to say that, because Jeet Kune Do was my father's very personal expression of the martial arts. He intended it to kill a lot of sacred cows. So I always feel a little bit silly saying that I practice Jeet Kune Do, although I certainly have been trained in it. Yeah. It would be more accurate to say that I practice my own interpretation of Jeet Kune Do, just as, frankly, everyone who practices Jeet Kune Do does, because that's what it was intended to be. Danny, my Sifu, always talks about teaching Jeet Kune Do concepts. In other words, teaching someone the concepts, a certain way of thinking behind the martial arts, as opposed to teaching them techniques. To me, that kind of illustrates the difference between giving someone a fish and teaching them how to fish. You know that old story, right? You can teach someone a certain block, and then they have that block. Or you can teach someone the concept that lies behind such a block, and then you have given them an entire area of thinking that they can grow and evolve in themselves. They can say, I see, so if that's the concept, then you could probably also do this, right? Yeah. And that's, I think, a lot of what lies behind Jeet Kune Do, and that is then dedicated to creating a really creative, free-form martial artist.
You see, actually, I do not teach, karate because I do not believe in styles anymore. I mean, I do not believe that there is such thing as like Chinese way of fighting or the Japanese way of fighting or whatever way of fighting, because unless human beings have 3 arms and 4 legs, we will have a different form of fighting. But basically, we have only 2 hands and 2 feet.
Unless we have other group of beings on Earth that are structurally different from us, then there might be a different style of fighting. Now, why is that? Because we have 2 hands and 2 legs now. The important thing is how can we use it to the maximum? In terms of path, well, straight lines, curved lines, round lines, they might be slow, but depending on the circumstances, sometimes that might not be slow. And in terms of legs, you can kick up straight, same thing, right? Now, and after all that, then you ask yourself, how can you honestly express yourself at that moment? And being yourself, when you punch, you really want to punch. Not you want to punch because trying to avoid not getting hit, but to really be in with it and express yourself. Now that is to me the most important thing, and that is how can I, in the process of learning how to use my body, to understand myself. Now, the unfortunate thing is, now there's boxing, which use hands, judo, which is throwing. Now, I'm not putting them down, mind you, but I'm saying one thing that is a bad thing, and that is, because of styles, people are separated. They are not united together, because styles became law, man. But the original founder of the style started out with hypotheses. But now it has become the gospel truth. And people that go into it, man, became the product of that. It doesn't matter how you are, who you are, how you are structured, how you are built, how you are made. It doesn't matter. You just go in there and be that product. And that, to me, is not right.
So styles tends to not only separate men, because they have their own doctrines, and then the doctrine became the gospel truth, that you cannot change, But if you do not have styles, if you just say, well, here I am, as a human being, how can I express myself totally and completely? Now, that way, you won't create a style, because style is a crystallization, that way, it's a process of continuing growth. First, we use the feet. And then we use the elbow. In fighting,
there is a finger jab, there is a punch, there is a back fist, and the thigh kick. It depends on where you hit and what weapon you will be using. I can use my longest weapon, my thigh kick, against the nearest target, your kneecap. This can be compared to your left jab in boxing, except it's much more damaging. You name it, man. We
use it all.
You have to, you see, because, I mean, that is the expression of the human body. I mean, everything. I mean, not just a hand. And when you're talking about combat, well, I mean, if it is a sport, now you're talking about something else. You have regulations, you have rules. But when you're talking about fighting as it is, with no rules.
Not real fighting.
Well, then, baby, you better train every part of your body.
A good martial artist
is like water. Why? Because water is insubstantial. By that I mean you cannot grasp hold of it. You cannot punch it and hurt it. So be soft like water and flexible. Be formless, shapeless, like water. Now you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. You put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. You put it in a teapot, it becomes the teapot. Now water can flow or it can crash. Be water, my friend.
How can I maintain lightning speed without sacrificing tremendous punching power?
I believe I found the cause of my ignorance.
You'll see a Jeet Kune Do punch is very scientific and practical, especially in street situations.
Okay, I'm going to start off with the basics. Normally we would taught in the right lead, but I like to go with the left and right lead, so I'm going to demonstrate in the right lead. Okay. Now when the punch comes, you parry it across like this, and as you do so, you strike. Okay, slow motion. 1, see, 2. You can do it together, or you can do it separate. You could catch and then go, or parry and then go, or do it together. When you do it together, you're going to hit it. I'm going to give you the side view over here. Slow motion. 1. That's slipping on the outside, slipping on the outside. We do a lot of drills. As I said, we incorporate from many different systems. Okay, so the first basic is to slip and hit. Again, a slow motion. Slip and hit. Okay, slip and hit, slip and hit. Now, as they punch, I'm going to slip inside and hit. Slow motion, slip, inside and hit. Slip, inside and hit. Now you can do it together, or you can parry slightly ahead of your cross that comes this way, or you slip and hit on the opposite side like that. Okay? Okay, that's your basics. Okay. Let me illustrate this slowly. As the focus glove comes out from your trainer, I want you to slip, cross, hook, cross. Slow again. Parry, cross, hook, cross. These are the basic drills that we were taught to follow up. But they can be found in Western boxing. They can be found in Filipino boxing. This one here, when you slip, you cross, you hook, you cross. However, you can slip first, and then hook, then cross, then hook. Again, slip, hook, cross, hook. We can also, when they jab, parry this hand, cross it here. When they move back, you cross, you hook, you cross. Again, slip, cross, cross, hook, cross. Again, slip, cross, hook, cross. Last time. Slip, okay, cross, hook, cross. Okay, that's your basics.
That was just an arm movement. Watch now. You see, there was only arm and shoulder. Shoulder was kind of tense too. No, definitely, it's a tense too. Later on, you will, check the different. Now, the feet was involved a little bit just now. It was fine. Shoulders too tight. Notice that in the beginning, when I say that you just involve only arm and shoulder. Now, your hand, the last time when I saw you was very, very good and fast. Now let's see if this can do. Now that, let me see another one. You got to involve your feet a little bit more. See, hand and feet. Got a hand and feet. Go pretty good.
Now watch, I think that when I attack you in a reactionary type of a thing, that tightening on the shoulder. Now watch now. Watch when I try to attack you. I think when you react to it, then you just do not tense yourself too much, You just then react and just boom, go into it. Now that, I just say, use only the hand just now, I say. Now boom! You see, when you move your hand and feet, boy, it makes a world of difference. You see, now, you should be a little bit more relaxed in the beginning. Aha! It's getting there, my friend. Watch now. Good. That one was pretty good. Pretty good. No, that was a little bit too tight. Now watch this one. Good. Now that could be used in film. Here we go.
Okay, let's say that this person is standing here. At this point, for purpose of illustration, I might use what they call the sachet, okay, that they use in Savate, which is like that, see? When I come in, I can go into Wing Chun. At that point, I might flow into Western boxing, okay? At another point, I might go into a lock similar that you might use in Jiu-Jitsu, and for the purpose of camera, I'll take the person down like this and lock the person here, and maybe go into any system that employs this type of lock, whether it be Jiu-Jitsu or Aikido or Kali or Penjak Silat. Now you notice that we went from system to system without a flow. Okay? I might stay out here, use any particular kick, break into Wing Chun range, and right from here, use a Muay Thai elbow, alright? And for the purpose of camera, I'm going to go slow and come into various lock position over here. Okay? This is what we call the Jeet Kune Do blend. It is not a system where we go from discipline to discipline without a thought process. And this is very important in the concept of JKD.
The karate punch is like an iron bar, whack. A Jeet Kune Do punch is like an iron chain with an iron ball attached to the end, and it go whang, and it hurt inside.
Hayward Nishioka, the Japanese-American national judo champion, who is also a black belt holder in the Shotokan style of karate, ran a scientific test in a California university to find out the difference between a karate punch and a Jeet Kune Do punch. And the finding is that indeed the Jeet Kune Do punch is more powerful and destructive than the classical karate punch.
And when you do punch, now I'm leaning forward a little bit, hoping not to hurt any camera angle. I mean, you gotta put the whole hip into it and snap it and get all your energy in there and make this into a weapon. Move to me. But your attack offered me an opportunity to intercept you. Don't charge him blindly.
In combat, distance is a continually shifting relationship, depending on the speed, agility, and control of both fighters. It is a constant, rapid shifting of ground, seeking the slightest closing, which will greatly increase the chances of hitting the opponent.
Okay, so I'm going to start off first with the footwork system, because this is the mobility system or the transportation system, or the system of delivery, okay? Traditionally, when he started off in 1964, when he taught me, we raised the left heel up. This thing is pointed in, and this is what he referred to as the Bai Zhang stance. like this, okay? So I'm going to start off first with the basic footwork. This is the step and slide shuffle, step and slide back. Okay, so this is the first two. Advance, retreat, move to the right, and move to the left. In the beginning of those earlier years in 1964, they always went with the right lead. But as time went on, we decided to go both left and right lead. So we again practiced our footwork with advance, retreat, move to the left, move to the right. Then we advance and retreat in one motion, and we retreat and advance. Double advance, double retreat, double left, and double right. This should be also done on the right lead as I'm doing here very slowly, okay, and switching over as so, okay. The basic footwork in which we use, okay. This method here, he taught us also, is slide step. And slide and step advance. So you slide the step, then you take a step out. Slide, and then step, slide and step, slide and step. And left lead, it will look something like this. Slide and step back, slide and step back. Then you have something that looks like your step and slide shuffle, but it's not. That's what they call a push shuffle. You push off, and you push back. Rather than take a step here and slide, you push, and you push back. This is what we refer to as the push shuffle on the right lead. Then you learn it on the left lead. Push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle, push shuffle. Okay, after that he taught us the circle. The circle we learned the quarter turn, which means I'm going to turn as if your opponent is here, we move. As if your opponent turns that way, you move, okay? Turns this way, we move. Turns this way, we move. Now your opponent's circling this way, so we move. So we learn to circle around like this. He circles this way, we move. Circles this way, we move. We do this again in the right lead also. Okay, so the man is circling this way, we move. Circles 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 this way, and he moves. Then we reverse it. This way, your opponent's moving, so you just move laterally, move around, moving around, okay? All right, this is your transport system that we use, or what they call delivery system.
This is on combination kicking. Now you will notice a difference. In the beginning, you tend to over-chasing yourself. In other words, you're covering too much distance. Therefore, when you kick, then your center of gravity is moving forward too much, and the form in kicking is greatly affected. Now, the reason you're going back because your body was leaning too much back. Now, that's what is called a commitment kick. I mean, when you try to go through something, when you're trying to really kick to hurt, then you would lean back, but you won't do it in a combination kicking. Boom. No, you see, you are rushing yourself there. I mean, you should really, in the beginning, just take your time and just go boom, and boom, and now. You see, you're still, it's not so much on the physical, mentally you are chasing yourself out, Now, watch this now. In slow motion, bum and bum. But you see, the body line is always there instead of overreaching, you know what I mean? You kind of rest back, but as you progress on though. Here we go. 1 and 2. Just easily, you know what I mean? Here we go. And 1, that's good. 2, and then once you get that, then you go into the kicking form, make sure that it is right, and 2 and 3. Now you are more in control now. You are more thinking of 1, 2, 3. And don't just, think of 3 already. That's even better now. Now there is snap at the end in this one too. The other one, you are just, doing a form and a boom and a boom and a boom. You see, all you need to do is just really snap the leg and just step and slide into it. Boom and a boom and a boom. That's right. Good. Now you're not over chasing yourself. Now you are pacing yourself right. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3. Good.
Now, the last one, though, you were a little bit off balance, but there was definitely a dum, dum, dum in there, you know. Here we go, kick me, boom, and boom. Here we go, boom, boom. You gotta bring the leg back quick, you see. You let it dangle out there too long. Gotta bring it back. You gotta bring it back. You gotta bring it back. And go boom, and boom. You see now, you see how you just boom, and then you lay it out there, but without bringing it back as soon as you can. Now watch this again now. Boom, boom, boom. You know, you should go boom, back, boom, back. You know what I mean? Really.
The fighting measure is the distance the fighter keeps in relation to his opponent. It is such that he cannot be hit unless his opponent lunges fully at him.
Martial art has a very, very deep meaning as far as my life is concerned, because as an actor, as a martial artist, as a human being, all these I have learned from martial art. If you wish to train punching, then punch. If you wish to train kicking, then kick.
The power from my kicks and punches are bursting. I demonstrated a sidekick on Ken Knutson, a powerful Goju stylist that moved so fast that he felt as though his eyeballs were still where he was standing.
Now, first of all, I noticed that in this tape, that as it progresses, your feeling is more involved in the technique, and consequently, your technique also improves. Now, the foot at the ending position in impact is kind of dangling a little bit. Watch it now. Right? I mean, it's not a definite, substantial, straight line directed at it and, you know, hit it square and then come back. Good. Now, that was a pretty good reaction. Good. You're pretty loose here. I see your hands dangling loose. And here we go. One more time. Pretty good. Now that was really quick too, you know. Did you notice that? See, the thing to watch out really is the initial, a little bit yawning there. The thing to watch out is the initial part has to be fast. But also that when you finish the technique, you gotta bring it back fast too. So in other words, you gotta be fast from beginning to end. In the spin kick, you will notice a very good lesson in there. Now, just now it was a little bit off. The good lesson that I mentioned. Now, you are very much in control of the movement. By too much control, therefore, you are kind of concerned about the execution. Therefore, you kind of, like really tight. Boom. Now, that was a pretty smooth movement. But now watch this now. Now, right now, I'm telling you to, really just forget about it. Just do it. Now, boom, you see, right on the target. when you just ease the burden of your mind, you just do it. Now watch the next two kick now. Just go boom, right on the head, man. And good speed too. And boom, boy, right on the head. See, now that's James Coburn in there, kicking. You see what I mean now? You really just and go into it.
You can feel the difference when I put my body behind the kick. I mean, you got to put the whole hip into it and get all your energy in there and make your kick into a weapon.
Now, let's see what... Now, in this one, I want to see the initial speed and suddenness of your attack. This is just a simple attack, I think a side kick. And I just wanted you to see how, go in there. Now, you're bouncing now for the sake of bouncing. Now, boom. Now, that one's not there. Now, that one now. You have good intention, you made up your mind, you just go. Not bad, not bad. Now, notice your kick when you finish. You just let it drop down, You do not bring it back quick enough. Now, your initial was quick. If you bring it back quick, the whole kick would just look like a boom. Now, again, you see, you did not bring it back again. You move, and boom. Good, very good suddenness. Again, you notice your leg, you did not bring it back. Boom. Good. Now, I really like the suddenness, of your... Maybe just a little step there, but it's... Listen, man, it passed. Boom. Now, you see, you're moving your leg, but your shoulder is a little bit... Now, that was pretty good. Your shoulder may be a little bit tense. The upper body and the lower body has to be united. Now, you see now, I don't think we mentioned this because your leg was... You see, you let it stay and then back. Now, see, definitely, your initial move has really improved. Really improved. Relax that. Move it. 1, 2, 3. Now, that was good. That was good. Boom. A little bit low. Boom. Good. Now, this is the flexibility now. Now, I want you to watch your left leg, with a stationary leg. Now, watch the stationary leg one out. The first one, you didn't make it. Now, the second one, you didn't. Now, watch this now. Watch it. Boom. You see how it really straightened out and you let all the weight rest on the heel and it just reach easily. Now, this is the side kick going over. Now, listen to this now. I like your very good natural feeling on the first one, though the kick was not too good. I mean, you see how it just really, very smoothly it go up there. Now, the second one, you want to control your foot position a little bit. Maybe you are too much control in there. Watch now. You know what I mean? Make it not as natural as the first one. Boom. Mm-hmm. You see now, when you do it right, man, when it touches, your left leg is all stretched out and it's just an easy type of a thing. Now, I think we are comparing. I let your leg dangle out there. I asked you to do it because, so you will get a feeling of it. Now you're going to bring it back quick now. Watch this now. And, you see? It was kind of a little bit off balance in the last one, but that's all right. Now you're going to go sideways. Watch now. I like the second one better than the first one. There was more directional in it. Good. Here we go. One more time. No, too low. Second one's okay. See, it come back in one straight line. Here we go again. Now, watch this illustration. You got to exaggerate the bringing of the leg back, you see. Back. Okay, watch it again now. You see, exaggerate the pulling of the leg back. Make it look much more faster and more forceful. Watch this now. I like the naturalness of your kick. Watch this now. You see, at the end, there was really the feeling there, you know?
Good. Get your back jumping up and down. Hey, good. Once more. Good. One more. Let's do everything really good. You want to. I see your habit.
How can I be so well coordinated? That means you have to be an athlete. That means you got to have jogging and all this basic ingredient, right?
Well, my dad made a point at the time that he was training that there were a lot of martial artists who weren't paying enough attention to their instrument, you know, and certainly the instrument of the body is what you're going to be using in your practice of the martial arts. So I think it's very important to keep up the tempo, so to speak. I'm interested in that point you reach where you actually fail from exhaustion at something, whether it's a weight training exercise or a cardiovascular exercise. I'm interested in seeing just how much that point is a physical point and how much it's a mental point. And so that's what I do. I jump a lot of rope, I run, I ride a life cycle. I much more prefer to go out and actually ride a bicycle or run and, you know, see some scenery. And then I work out down at the academy, which is on some levels a very cardiovascular workout. Some of the classes I take, like the Muay Thai kickboxing classes, a hell of a cardiovascular workout. Yeah. And then some of the classes are more technique-oriented, so you're not huffing and puffing so much as you are just learning individual techniques. And then I work out at the weightlifting gym, where I do 2 body parts a day, pretty much, and then I break that up occasionally. So I do like back and biceps on one day, chest and triceps on another day, or something else, and delts and legs on the third, or something like that. And it was just switch it. I found that was generally the best thing to do, whether it was with a high weight or a low weight. And what I understood the process to be was that working with heavy weights would build mass, whereas working with low weights was intended to build like density and really carve out the muscle a lot more. And since I personally have never been interested in getting large as much as just getting cut, I tended to work with a lower weight. But then to me, getting cut is also mostly a question of vascularity. It has to do with how much body fat you're carrying. So I've always done a lot of cardiovascular work because that's also real world power too. I mean, I suppose it's good if you want to pick up heavy objects to have large muscles, but cardiovascular stamina is something that seems to come in handy a lot more often than a large muscle would. You go down to the academy and you try and do a 3-minute round on the Thai pads, and I don't care how big your muscles are, if you don't have a real good cardiovascular system, you're going to be dead in about 45 seconds, and I'm still going to be going.
Now, you want to kick it when it's coming to you.
I'll try it.
You let your foot jam. Drive the sucker. You're pushing. Okay, now, Jim, go and kick a beanbag and give me the thrust the sucker to Kingdom Hub. Oh, now, Jim, face the sucker. Now, you are cutting your half now. That's okay.
How's that?
Beautiful. No, I mean, I want you to be happy. You're still kicking a little bit off to the side. Kick him directly now. Good. Now don't kick it again, but don't turn your body so much when you finish. Try to still face him when you finish. Good. Now kick the sucker when he comes back. Not yet, not yet. That's
During this time period, we used to train because we didn't have any Thai pads, so Sifu Bruce advocated the use of using the football forearm guard, and which we don't use this anymore, but this was very prevalent during that time period. This here is the original punching shield, that his own personal punching shield, in fact. This was used as in the Way of the Dragon. If you notice this, he had one part. I had one arm, he had the other arm, and this was used in that picture, Way of the Dragon. This was used in Enter the Dragon. This was actually, its original use is actually used for baton training in Japan, and we just modified it, and we used a special helmet, a boxing headgear we had, and we used it, and this became part of our training, some of the training tools that we used when we used to spar.
Literally, on television, they had to shoot it, they had to overcrank and shoot it in slow motion because otherwise it just looked like a special effect when he moved. I mean, the man was fast. He was deadly fast. I've really never encountered anyone in all of my training since who was as fast.
You can certainly train for speed. I think that training for speed is, number one, it's a genetic factor. Yeah, certainly. There are some people who are just gifted. They are fast naturally. But I think training for speed, on the whole, is a question of muscle memory. Speed in an individual movement is something that, I mean, we're coming down to, thousandths of a second now. If you and I, or even if I and some completely untrained person were to stand side by side facing a focus pad, and when a red light blinked, both flick out a jab, I'd probably win by a couple hundredths of a second. But once you're talking about speed with repetition of movements, to be able to go like that, that's muscle memory. An untrained person would be like, they would falter in their movements because they haven't trained their muscles, or they haven't trained their perception as well to be able to react quickly to a variety of different circumstances.
Martial art is a combative form of the art of expressing the human body. You have to train yourself into it. I mean, you better train every part of your body, keeping the continuity going, bending, stretching, everything. You just keep it moving. See, the idea is running water never grows stale. So you got to just keep on flowing.
When the opponent expands, I contract. And when he contracts, I expand. And when there is an opportunity, I do not hit. It hits all by itself.
To me, at least the way that when I teach it, all type of knowledge ultimately means self-knowledge. So therefore, they're coming in and ask me to teach them not so much of how to defend themselves or how to do somebody in. Rather, they want to learn to express themselves through some movement, be it anger, be it determination, or whatsoever. So in other words, what I'm saying, therefore, is that he is paying me to show him in combative form the art of expressing the human body.
Jeet Kune Do is not a style.
I cannot teach you, only help you to explore yourself, nothing more.
Here it is, natural instinct, and here is control. You are to combine the two in harmony. Not if you have one to the extreme, you will be very unscientific. If you have another to the extreme, you become all of a sudden a mechanical man. Now, James Coburn is a peace-loving man. I mean, he's really, really nice. I mean, super mellow and all that. I mean, you know, I mean, now he appreciates the philosophical part of it. Therefore, his understanding of it is deeper than Steve.
The martial arts, which are an integral part of my life, come entirely from my father. But the martial arts, I'm completely beholden to my dad for. I mean, he started me in the martial arts when I could walk. He trained me my entire life until he passed away. And then even when I continued my training, it was with one of his students.
You know what I want to think of myself? As a human being. Because, I mean, I don't want to sound like, you know, as Confucius. Hey, but under the sky, under the heaven, man, there is but one family. It just so happened, man, that people are different.
A good martial artist does not become tense, but ready. Not thinking, yet not dreaming. Ready for whatever may come.
When you move down the road towards the mastery of the martial arts, and you are constantly moving down that road, you end up coming up against these barriers inside yourself that will attempt to stop you from continuing to pursue the mastery of the martial arts. And these barriers are such things as when you come up against your own limitations, when you come up against the limitations of your will, your ability, your natural ability, your courage, how you deal with success and failure as well, for that matter. And as you overcome each one of these barriers, you end up learning something about yourself. And sometimes the things you learn about yourself can, to the individual, seem to convey a certain spiritual sense along with them.
I don't believe in systems, nor in methods. And without system, without method, what's to teach? I found the cause of my ignorance.